What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? It's your boy Mike Robinson, and this is another episode of Yes, You Guessed It. Let's take a walk. I hope everybody is having an awesome week. I definitely am. Celebrated my son's birthday over the weekend, man. I'm like trying to recover from that, but it was still a joy for me, celebrate him. He's a whole 6 years old. So that opens new doors. He's a first grader, so therefore, in his mind, he is an adult. So we are. so we're dealing with that, but that's a totally another issue. We're not here for all of that tonight. We have a sister, friend, a musical mentor of sorts. One of my personal inspirations. It's always a treat, and I always say this. It's always a treat when you have somebody on the show that you are truly friends with, that you're truly familiar with, and come from some of the same places and had some of the same experiences. And they've seen what you've seen, and so that's always a treat to have that relationship thing going on. And so tonight is one of them nights. Tonight we have Miss Lisa Mcclendon. Some of y'all may remember her from You Are Holy and Move On Over, Let Me Testify. If I Could Put the World on Pause. Yeah, that's her. That's her. That's her.
Doing the most.
She's an entrepreneur, but seriously though, she's an artist, an artist. She's an entrepreneur. She's a businesswoman of sorts. She is a teacher, a counselor. You name it, she does it. She's an advocate for youth and mental health and that whole thing. So she's just so multifaceted and like they said on Shrek, she's like an onion, so many layers, you know what I mean? I don't know what else I can say about her, but for those of you who may not be familiar with Miss Mcclendon, I don't know where you've been at. But for those of you who may not be familiar with Miss Mcclendon, I'm going to give her a moment to kind of reintroduce herself and just give a little background to who she is and some of the things that she has brewing right now. So with that being said, Miss Lisa, you got the floor.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is See, when I hear stuff like that, the first thing coming to my mind is Hov. I'm like, we just going Jay-Z all day. Hey, Mike, it's so good to see you.
Absolutely.
Lisa Mcclendon here, gospel, neo soul, jazz, creative artist, singer-songwriter. Been in the game for many years. that many years. Started out with an independent label and was then signed to Integrity Gospel and did Live from the House of Blues. My Diary of Life was my first project, then Soul Music. And then we were honored and blessed to do a live recording at the House of Blues, live at the House of Blues in New Orleans. And then some independent drops after that. Reality, I believe, was the next project I dropped in 5 a.m. And then we did a collection of sorts. So just been doing this for a minute. And yeah, I think I've said a lot.
So, you're no stranger to this platform. You've been on a few times, more than most. But what have you been doing, like specifically? Like, what have you been doing since the last time we spoke? I mean, I think it's been.
What have you been doing? Not what have we been doing? what have we been doing?
Right.
So, definitely, we're gonna talk about that a little bit.
Okay.
So Mike I've had the honor of having Mike on a project with me that's getting ready to drop soon. But before I go there, I have been since the last time we talked, I have since graduated from undergrad, and I'm now a graduate student. Come through. This is what we do with our life. This is what we doing. This is what we doing. Yes. So I'm excited because that was the longest 5 years of my life. Um, but at the same time, wow, I learned so much in undergrad. I grew so much in undergrad. It was the best. It was the best gift to myself, education. And I've never really been raised in a house that. Well, my mom was an educator, but we wasn't really like you got to go to college. You got to go to college. But I'm glad that I returned to college because I did go to school years ago. I started out in fashion design, and to be able to return and get my degree in psychology has been just such a blessing to me personally, and then for the people around me. Just having that education and that tool to deal with the world around me has just been great. In addition to that, just being able to find my way back into the space of music, I recently launched a performing arts community called Yeye's Village. And Yeye's Village is a performing arts community that supports expressive creative women and expressive creative children. And I'm excited about that because we can use this platform for women to just get away and have their own space to create for themselves and to find a place for healing, because a lot of times women, we carry so much and we don't have a place to release. So I wanted to give women a safe place to release and share their art, allow their art to bring forth their own healing, and then also allow their art to bring healing to their own communities. And then our youth village, we utilize the youth village to support children with their academic excellence and social and emotional intelligence. So just finding my way to allow my art to really help support the community. And then this new project we just dropped, Perfect. Love it. My new single just dropped July 13th, June 13th, my mom's birthday, June 13th. Nice. And this project is definitely setting the stage for something great, because now I've been privileged to move into the space of mental health advocacy while I pursue my graduate degree. So we're merging the beautiful world of music and the beautiful world of human behavior, and taking these two worlds and bringing music that will help people continue to heal, which is what I feel like God has always graced me to do in music. But I just feel like this is just even bigger than what I've been able to do in the past. So I'm excited.
That's amazing. That is amazing. I was just about to ask you about the new single, Perfect. I listened to it one more time before I came on here, and I was just like, man, this is so Lisa. Like, this is vintage Lisa.
Yeah.
But it's easy to get caught up in the vibe of it. But what I was trying to kind of extrapolate.
Come on, extrapolate.
Yes. From the music, I was more trying to concentrate on the actual lyrics of the song and what you were actually trying to convey to the listener. I felt like you were kind of like being very transparent and very very honest, about yourself. Is this, in other words, is Perfect a current depiction of who you are at this present moment? Like, is this Lisa right now?
Absolutely. And what's more important is Perfect definitely depicts a picture of Lisa in this present time. And I think that's important to say and to own, because the reality is the story of Perfect, which is, if for those who have not heard the song yet, shame on you, make sure you go hear the song. The song tells about my navigating insecurity at times. The song talks about not only insecurities, but also about comparison, how we often find ourselves comparison, which is often perpetuated through social media for sure. And then this universal fear of failure. That is that is the majority of society's story. And no matter how big you get in life, just by being human and having access to see everybody's world, most of us, if we're honest, every now and then we'll see something somebody does and be like, dang, I ain't doing enough. Or dang, what I'm doing ain't enough. Or
Right.
dang, what
It
I'm
makes
doing
you feel that way anyway. Right.
or what I'm doing ain't good enough. Like that is definitely my story today. But my story is also me having those conversations with myself and saying, yeah, but you good. They may have what they got going on, but yours is just as good. And we're not here to, you don't have to compare with what someone else is doing. I have to constantly talk to myself and remind myself of who I am. I have to constantly challenge myself to live a life as if no one can see what I'm doing.
Right.
But the reality is we are often tested with that. And and I feel like it's a good thing to share that so people can know, dang, it's not just me. No, it is not just you. And I'm talking about artists who have won way more awards than I have, who have been in bigger places than I have. They all deal with it. We all deal with it. Your celebrity's crush deals with that. You know, there's even social status in celebrities. I heard that even when you get into Hollywood, there's still the the poverty level, the middle class and the upper class. They, you know, people are always, everywhere you go, you're fighting. You the big man in high school, you play football, and then you get to college, you got to start back to bottom again and work your way up. So no
Right.
matter where you are in life, you will often find ourselves having to work our way back up. And while we're trying to work our way back to where we feel like we need to be, there's always that temptation to compare yourself with someone else, or at least question
Hmm.
what you're doing, compare it to someone else.
That's a fact. And you definitely said a mouthful. There was a specific lyric that I wanted to kind of touch on and kind of get your thoughts on. There was a portion where you said there are some times where you're afraid of your dreams. What does that mean? Like, can you kind of expound on that?
What if I told you sometimes I'm scared of my own dreams? And it's funny that you asked me about that because I just did an interview before we did this interview, like
Mhm.
10 minutes ago. That was the same question they just asked me.
Wow.
So when I said, what if I told you that sometimes I'm scared of my own dreams?
Hmm.
That is me telling you the story of how Lisa, I want to move into something, but I'm too afraid that I'm going to fail. Or I'm afraid that I'm going to succeed. Okay, well, what does that mean? So you succeed. That's great, right? Yeah. But when you succeed, it's the pressure of keeping it up.
Right.
What is the woman who's saying you are holy say to the woman who got to try to top you are holy? That's pressure.
Right.
And I remember when I first came into the industry, one of the first conversations me and my producer at the time, Mo, had when You Are Holy, reality did so well, my independent project. One day we were sitting in the studio, we were like, dang, what we gonna do the next? How we gonna top that? Then we did soul music. And we were like, dang, how we gonna top that? You ever heard of the term one hit wonder?
Absolutely.
Everyone is afraid to be a one hit wonder. And that's not just in music. You know what I'm saying? So you know, we are oftentimes faced with, man, can I top the last thing I did? Or can I do what I'm doing great and keep from being knocked off?
Mm.
You know, I start a burger joint, McDonald's, and whoop, here come Burger King. Whoop, here come, you know, you always have competition in your space.
Right.
How do I stay relevant? How do I stay relevant? Let's start there. So that's where that line came from: the fear of failure or the fear of succeeding, and the expectation and the responsibility that comes with succeeding. That's where that line came from.
So do you see other artists as competition? Is that how you look at is that how you
No,
look at
I
other
don't
artists?
look at them as competition. That's a great question. It's not the competition. because and the one of the reasons I don't know if I will be able to articulate in this moment why I feel like the word competition is not good for me for me, but I don't look at it as competition as much as I just look at it as a bar.
Mm.
I think that's the best way I can describe it right now. When I see other artists, I never really been a jealous person, and I think that's an ode to my mom.
Hmm.
But I can get in spaces where one or two things may happen for me if I'm just not in my space of being confident, and that
Right.
happens from time to time. I can look at something and say, "Dang, I need to step my game up," because that jump right there, okay, I need to step my game up. That inspired me. I need to step my game up.
Right.
Most times that's who I am. But then there are those times where I'll see somebody do something, I'm like, dang, I'm not doing good. I ain't do that. Dang, that sound way better than mine.
Wow.
I can't sing. I don't sing like that.
Wow.
Dang, I don't look like that.
Wow.
Oh yeah, that happens. And then I have to have a talk with myself. I'm like, okay, let's unpack that. Where's that coming from? Because you're clearly not in your strength. Clearly not tapped in, aligned in. Because when you are tapped in and aligned, that's kind of things that doesn't bother you. So that's always a sign to me that I need to check on me when I get in that place where I'm feeling subconscious.
Well, tell me this. Can feeling like that ever be helpful? And what I mean by that is like, people say, oh, you can't rest on your laurels. You got to keep pushing. You got to keep. I see TikToks all the time where players, current and past, talk about Kobe Bryant and how he just seemed like he was always in go mode. Like he always was working. When everybody went to the club, he was in the gym. You know what I'm saying? Because he just always wanted to stay ready, I guess you could say. So is there ever a time where that unsure, insecure, fearful feeling is that ever helpful? Is that ever a motivator? Is that ever a strength?
For me, no. Insecurity is not a strength.
Okay.
Inspiration is.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? So for me, if I'm feeling insecure, that is a red flag. That lets me know that, and it's as simple as this: I'm tired. I've done too much, and I need to slow down because now I'm emotional,
Mm-hmm.
and on the negative side. But if I see something and I'm inspired, then I know that I'm emotional in a positive way. My emotions have been a match has been struck to ignite me. I want to be ignited,
Okay.
not feel bad because I feel like when something insecure is something not secured. That's
Right.
never a good thing. I would never drive over a bridge that's not secured. I would never want to fly from an airport where there's no security. Security means that I'm safe.
Mm-hmm.
Insecure means I'm not safe.
Gotcha.
So insecurity is never a good thing. Inspiration is always a good thing.
Okay, awesome. So tell me this. Why this? And when I say this, I mean perfect and just the whole movement that you've been in currently. Why this and why now?
I think that is an easy answer.
Okay.
Look at social media. Look at the numbers. We are our atmosphere as it relates to advertisement is an overwhelmed presence of better help, therapy. Why are we constantly seeing all of these commercials on better help now, therapy? Everybody need a coach. Because people are mentally overwhelmed. People are crashing.
Mm-hmm.
People are crashing. We are overstimulated with information. Um, People are sad. People are depressed. Um, People are faking. People are trying to keep up with the Joneses when the Joneses ain't even real. When
Right.
the Joneses can't even keep up with the Joneses.
Right.
People are the world is sick. The world is really sick. Society is sick. Society in it within itself is has it's very much so a mental illness happening. It's rampant. It's really rampant. So I feel like it's timely. It's right on time. It's something I've been dealing with for a minute, and I'm like, I can't be the only one. I can't be the only person that feels this way. So it was important for me to share this because I knew I wasn't the only one, and my suspicions were right because as soon as I dropped this song, my inbox flooded.
Wow.
And even before then, when I first did the walk, the National Alliance of Mental Illness, I did that walk before the song dropped, and that was when people started sending me messages privately and was like, I have a panic. I've been living with panic attacks for years, and I don't even know how to talk about this. And if you've never dealt with a panic attack, God bless you, because it is hard.
Wow. Wow. When I listen to, you brought up your other projects that you've done. Um, in relation to them,
Mm.
would you say that this project is different and a far cry from them, or is it just kind of on par with what you've always done? Have you
Definitely.
always have you always been? Do you feel like you've always been as transparent as you're being right now?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, think about my first album. If you fall, don't stay down. That was my story. Like I was a piece of work. My first album. I was figuring it out. I was 23, figuring out life, new mom, new wife. And, I had a lot going on, and then even soul music. Oh my God, I did a song on there. Say to live my way, he appealed to me. I mean, those songs. If you listen to my songs, you hear all of that. You hear all the transparency. What I will say about Perfect that is different is my awareness is different. Back
Mhm.
then, I was singing about things, but I had no tool. I didn't have all the natural tools to deal with it. So I could tell you that I was dealing with this and dealing with that, but I really couldn't tell you outside of the spiritual side because there is a natural and a spiritual. I could not tell you how to deal with those things naturally. Really, I didn't have, or sometimes I could tell you, but I just didn't know how to use it. Almost like somebody putting a hammer in my hand and a wrench in my hand, and I have the tool, but nobody really taught me how to use them.
Right. Right.
So I feel like I'm a lot more self-aware now, and I know how to speak to the Lisa that may feel insecure now. I didn't know how to really speak to the Lisa that was insecure years ago. Same Lisa, but more of a mature Lisa now. I know how to use my tools now.
That's amazing. That is amazing. Um, when you when you look at all that you've been able to accomplish, up to this point, even when you weren't doing music, you found other things to, you fed your other passions. You fed the things that you were, um, like I said, passionate about, and you were able to build a life for yourself. Um, how do you think that will, well, how has that contributed to what you've been able to do now? I mean, I know you explained, you talked about the maturity and all that, but could you like further expound on like your experiences now? How does that feed into what you're doing now?
So having the opportunity take part in my other passions has been very therapeutic for me, for sure. It's allowed me to be in a space of peace, because the other side of music is that it's not always peaceful when you share it with the world. You know what I mean? It's different when I can sing to myself and be comforted, but when I have to sing to the world, then you are faced with the judgment. You play in your mind of people really who's not embracing it, who loves it, who doesn't, and that's just human nature. So there's that business side. There's that I can't just do music in the business world. I can't just do music. I have to do music to a level, to some degree, where it's engaging and where I got to now go and promote this music. Now got to go and do radio interviews, and I now got to go and be in, taste makers and all these things, and with the PR and get on tour and do promo tours. See, all those things are necessary to get the music to the masses as much as you can.
Right.
But it's also, it can be daunting. It can be overwhelming. Well, when I go do gardening, I don't have to share that with the world.
Right.
I don't have to go do PR on gardening. I don't have to go do a photo shoot on my garden. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to do photo shoots and press for when I'm doing my performing arts community with my women in the women's village, or when I'm working with children. I don't have to do any of those things when I'm meditating. Something else I love to do, and when I'm reading, I love reading. I have to make myself go to bed because I love to read. So I don't have to broadcast and go and share when I'm up midnight with my nightlight trying to read the last chapter before I fall asleep. Those are the parts of my art that I get to keep for myself with no business attached. So it is very important for me to have other things besides music, because while I love my music, I have chosen, and I want the world to know this, that they're not a burden. The fans are not a burden. I chose to share my music with the world, so I'm okay with that. But I also have other things that I don't want to share with the world. I get to keep for myself.
So you have a very unique style. And that was one of the other things that I was, just listening to your music and your ministry. You're not musical. And what I mean by that is that you don't necessarily follow the rules of everybody's music. You know what I'm saying? You're like, I was listening to Perfect, and I'm like, yo, she's poetic. Like, this is poetic. This isn't even like, these aren't even song lyrics. This is poetic here. You know what I'm saying? And this is something that has been, your thing, for as long as I've, been aware of your music. Where would you say, where or who would you credit that influence to for you to be able to do it the way that you do it?
I don't know. I just I don't know. I think it has a lot to do with the fact that I've always been I've always written poetry growing up. Before I was ever a singer, and before I was ever writing songs, I was always writing poetry. I remember growing up, and my mother. I remember growing up, and she would never let me throw away my poetry. I would write poetry, and I would draw clothing and stuff, and she would never let me throw it away. She's like, "No, keep that. Hold on to that." And so, and then eventually, that poetry turned into song. But every song that especially in the beginning of my career as an artist, it was literally me going through my poetry book and making those poetry pieces songs. So I think I've always been a poetress. I like that too. And I just think that's what it is. My mother's a writer. She's an amazing writer, actually. We just talked about this recently. So if I had to say I get it from anybody, she get it from my mama. So yeah. She get it from my mama. Yes.
Shout out to her. you have been up to this point, you have been Lisa Mcclendon, the gospel artist. Like, no, make no bones about it. She's a
Mhm,
Christian artist, she's a gospel artist.
mhm.
But when I listen to Perfect, um, I feel like there's somewhat of a separation there in its lyrical content and everything. And it just seems like you're going in a very unique direction. And so, with that being said, where do you see yourself as an artist? You know, for those pastors who might not be sure if they want to bring a Lisa McClendon to their church or their event, or this organization is not sure if Lisa McClendon is the same You Are Holy Lisa McClendon that, whatever. Like, has that been a challenge for you in this,
No,
dispensation?
it's funny because I just said this in the previous interview, is that anyone who thinks that they're not really a Lisa McClendon fan, they are you a holy fan. That's two different
Mm, okay.
because You Are Holy is one song out of my entire catalog.
Right.
And anyone who is a true diehard supporter fan of Lisa McClendon will tell you, where y'all been? All her albums are like perfect. Every last one of her albums, from My Diary of Life to all of her albums are transparent. All of her albums are soulful, neo soul, jazzy from day one. That's been Lisa McClendon. But and it's just what it is when you're with the label, a major label, and they push, which traditionally what they do, they'll push that one single. Sometimes, if unless you're going by the album, that's the only song you know. I mean, I've been guilty of that where the only song I knew somebody that I loved was the song I heard on the radio. I don't
Right.
know the other songs. That this is all I know. But for those that are true diehard fans of Lisa McClendon, that's followed Lisa McClendon's music, who go to the back of the album and read the cover and want to know who wrote those individuals will tell you, no, Perfect is just, you can find most of her songs in the first album, second album, third album. All of her albums have songs like Perfect, which is most of my songs sound like Perfect and not like You Are Holy. So to your question, what would you say to the pastors that don't want to bring her in? Um,
Well, don't. It's not saying that they don't want to bring you in. They're
they don't know
just not sure.
well, I think here's the thing. This is a beautiful thing about church.
Okay.
You have Sunday morning service, you have women conferences, you have youth conferences, you have couples retreats. Church has so many communities, sub communities within the culture. So you have the culture of church, and then you have the subcultures. And so I'm grateful for who I am, and I'm proud to stand by who I am, because you can bring a Lisa McClendon in for a youth conference. You can bring a Lisa McClendon in for a women's conference. You can bring her in for a couples retreat. You know what I'm saying? You can bring her in for a community chat on mental health, because a lot of ministries now are starting to see that that's important, which is funny to me, because when we read our Bible, Jesus had a whole panic attack at the cross. The Bible said that he sweat his drops of blood. If that ain't a panic attack,
Right.
the one that was our example of how to live in his flesh. So now churches are starting to see that, man, this is real. Yeah, we have a physical body that we have to navigate, and sometimes this physical body is not aligning with what we would like it to do. So there's just it's so much to who I am, and I'm grateful that God has created me to be this kind of person, this type of woman, and so that I'm not limited. Maybe there are some gospel artists that you can only bring them into Sunday morning because that's all they fit into, but they know that that's who they are and they're true to that. For me, I'm true to who I am, and I just happen to be many things.
Absolutely. So, I mean, are you silly? So, are you veering more so to the church community, or do you know what I'm saying? Can Lisa go anywhere? Like,
Lisa's
is
always been able to go
is
anywhere.
she open for Karen Clark or Mary J. Blige, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Can
I
she go
mean,
for Beyonce, whatever? You know what I
I've
mean?
always been able to do any platforms. I mean, I hate to say his name based upon what he got going on in his life right now, but back in the day when my album first dropped, I was doing P Diddy's clubs. in New York.
Mm.
Yeah, was it Sharky's? I want to say it was Sharky's or something like that. So I was already doing, and that was what was so unique about my brand, and has always been so unique about my brand. Is that I could go into clubs and will have gone into clubs. Most of my gigs are in clubs.
Mm.
Most of my gigs, most of my shows are in clubs. It's always a treat when I'm invited to ministries as well. But most of my gigs have always been in clubs, and then I can still flip. Most of my touring has been club on Friday night, Saturday night, church on Sunday morning,
Wow.
and I sing the same music. I don't change it. I don't change anything. I sing the same thing.
Wow.
So I've been blessed to be able to move like that. When I move, you move just like that, you know. So you know about that.
Right. So creatively, do you and yeah, so creatively, do you usually stick with the same core of musicians and producers and engineers, or do you venture out? Do you go over here into this studio and deal with this producer and this band or whatever, and then you go back over here and you did, or do you usually just deal with one core group and let that be that? How important is
Um,
how important is continuity when it comes to your
I work with producers if it's our season to work together.
okay.
So my first three projects, yeah, my first three projects, My Diary of Life, Soul Music and House of Blues was all Mo Henderson, who actually is responsible for, in my opinion, just helping me break out into the industry. Mo just really believed in me. Um, just took me under his wing like his little sister, if you will. And then Dave Stevens came, and Dave Stevens is responsible, well, partly responsible. Let me back up. Then Herb, Herb Middleton came from New York. He was from Bad Boy, came from up under Bad Boy again. Jesus. But anyway, so Herb did reality with me. I did reality, and as a part of reality, Dave Stevens came into the picture. Actually, Dave Stevens was one of his songs was featured on House of Blues album, and
Okay.
then they wrote out together for my 5 a.m. album. Me and Dave did that album together. So I think it's just season. So then this project right now that I'm dealing with, that I'm working on, I'm the producer this time, and I've been working with can't think of James's last name, but a local producer by the name of James here in Clearwater, who's responsible for the likes of Kevin Gates and NBA YoungBoy.
Wow.
So it just depends on the season that I think I'm in. And no shade to anybody I've ever worked at. I think I've always worked with some amazing people. I've been blessed to do that. But if I had my way, I would always just love to work with Mo Henderson like that. He gets me. He knows me um, in a way that no one else has. And I've worked with some amazing producers, but it's just something that me and Mo Henderson does that is hard to duplicate. It's like for me, it's like Brandy and Darkchild.
Right.
Brandy has done some amazing things, but it's something about her work with Darkchild that it's undeniable. All her stuff is amazing, but her stuff with her and Darkchild is just
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's probably my favorite, probably top two favorite vocalists or artists ever of all time. Um, I thought about you last night. I was watching some of the BET Awards, and they had Lauryn Hill and her son performed last night, and I thought about you, and I was like, man, like that's Lisa. Like I said, I always say that you were Lauryn Hill before I ever knew that there was a Lauryn Hill. That's amazing to me. It always kind of makes me laugh a little bit. But I just put that out there. I ain't put it out there for a reason. Just put it out there. Anyway, anyway, what do you want people to know about you based off of this project? Like, if you could have it your way, what would you want me as the listener to take from it and learn, about you, who you are? Who would you want me to know who you
I
are?
think most important, more than anything in the world, I want people to look at this music and know that I'm human,
Mm,
and that dang, she liked me in a lot of ways, and that if she's like me in a lot of ways, then I'm okay. Yes, you're okay. And there's many of us. There's a common thread amongst all of us. All of us are alike in so many ways. We just don't even realize it. We think something wrong. Sometimes we think something's wrong with us, and the very thing that you think is wrong with you is right with you because it's common. It's just being human. Um, and I think that is more than anything, that's important for people to know that I am just like you, and so is Will Smith, just like you, and so is Viola Davis, or just like 50 Cent, or just like whoever, whatever artist, Brandy, Monica, all these artists, we're all human beings. Everybody has a struggle, regardless of how much money people have, how much success people have. People still have their vice. People still have their mornings when they wake up with bad breath. They still have, you know what I'm saying? Like, think about it. You
right,
have they still have to take a shower. They still get sick. They still have regrets. They
right.
still have disappointment. They still have insecurities. Everybody has their thing. Period. That's important to know that we're all human.
Okay. So in addition to the musical offering that you've created, you've also been working on visual content. Um, Tell me, talk to us a little bit more about that section of the project. Why this and why not?
So yes, and this is water, by the way. This is water, guys. So I'm sorry. So we are in post production for my first documentary film, The Other Side of the Spotlight, which happens to feature, ladies and gentlemen, my dear brother, Michael Robinson. So happy he in the film, so The Other Side of the Spotlight is my first documentary film, hopefully the first of many, where we highlight people who are in the spotlight and we show you the story of what their lives look like on the other side of the spotlight. So I don't necessarily want to give the story away, but you get to see what you don't know about me, or the full story of what you may not know about me. And so we go through my childhood and my life as an artist. And then we want to start this to do this for other people in the spotlight, politicians, spiritual leaders, athletes, other artists, singers, creatives, dancers, because there's a pressure to keep up this image from the top down. And this documentary gives us permission to cut the stage light off. The stage lights are not always on. The microphone is not always on. At some point, we have to cut the stage light off and go live our life, our day-to-day life. We're not always on stage. We're not always in interviews. We're not always singing. We have to stop and take care of family, take care of ourselves, take care of our mental health, take care of our bodies, go see our dentist, go see our doctor. The normal things that everyone does, we do. And then within that though, and within that story though, it talks about the quiet struggle that the person may be willing. Some people deal with bulimia that you don't know. Some people deal with bipolar. So I didn't even know that. I think it was Taraji P. Henson. She's on medication. She's bipolar. I think it's her. And if I'm not, forgive me. But there are several celebrities who are bipolar and got things going on. And some people are not necessarily mental illness, but maybe other things that are going on. And so I think these stories are important so people don't feel like that they're alone. And that's what this documentary does.
That's amazing. That is amazing. At this, I've asked you this question before in past interviews, but I'm going to ask you again. For this point in time, what would you say the most common misconception that people have about you at this point in your career?
Oh, what is the most common misconception about people? I don't even know. That is a great question. I don't know how I answered before, but because I don't know what people think about me. But I can tell people what people may be surprised to know about me.
Sure,
Perhaps
sure.
what people may be surprised to know. Oh, I think what people may be surprised to know about me is that most times I'm quiet.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why when I get in interviews where I get around people, I'm very talkative because when I'm with myself, I'm always quiet. I'm usually quiet and thinking. I'm a thinker. I'm always thinking, and I think what happens is because I am single and I'm by myself most times, that I think all these thoughts I'm thinking and I'm processing when I get in front of somebody, it just all comes out. Maybe that's what's happening. But for
Yeah,
the most part, I'm pretty much a loner. I never thought about it until just sitting here. I'm really a loner. And I'm kind of okay with that.
yeah,
Yeah, I think over time, I think I've just evolved into that place. Maybe that's something interesting for people to know about me, because everything else people pretty much know. I'm pretty much an open book. I'm a student, for sure. But yeah.
absolutely. Um, in your, in the process of your documentary, I had the pleasure of and the honor of being a part of it. Um, you incorporated your mom and your brother and family members. So how important was that for you in particular, allowing your family to contribute, be in front of and behind the scenes? I mean, your brother was producing and you know orchestrating the cameras and the lighting and the different things like that. And your mom, she did a segment. I don't want to give all your stuff away, but how meaningful was that for you to be able to work with your family members?
That was really meaningful because unfortunately, like again, my dad passed last year, so it still seems weird to say. And to be able to have my mother to around to uh, confirm my story. One thing I learned from one of our main director, Tony, who got a chance to meet her, Tony's Evans. Big shout out to her for directing this piece. But something she taught me, she said it's important in a documentary to have people that confirm your story. Otherwise, people can just be like, "Was she making this up?" So to have my mother talk about the story of the church and the juke joint, like she was like, "Oh, that was a real story." Yes, it was a real story. I was raised in front of a church where the church was right there and the juke joint was on the corner. That was a great part of my life growing up, and for my mother to be able to corroborate, if I'm saying that right, corroborate some of those stories. It was good to have that. To hear her perspective on me was good. She was sharing stories some things that I didn't even know, and then to hear how she felt about me, that meant a lot to me. And then to have my brother with his team to be a part of that, it was great to have him to know that his name was going to be on this project. And then furthermore, there's a big age gap between my brother Jason and I. And so some of those stories that he heard tell in filming, he was like, "Dang, sis, I didn't know you went through all that." So for him to have the opportunity to see what his big sis went through, like, oh, now she makes a lot of sense. Some things I didn't understand about her, now I understand why she or did or said or. So I think that was very, very important. And my niece, his daughter, was one of the camera crew. So that was important and that was just great. It was just something, just great to have that.
Okay, so I just have a couple more questions for you. This is the first of the last. uh, what is your ultimate goal for this project? Like if you could put it into words, what would be this project at its peak?
Oh, quiet. I just was asked that question again recently. This album is quiet. This new project is going to be quiet. It's
Mhm.
going to be. It's not going to be loud at all. My intention is not. My intention is for you to hear me, and then have space to process what I've said. Hear me again, and then have space to process what I said. I want this album to breathe. So it's not move on over, move on over. It's not move on over at all.
Yeah.
It's almost, I would say, closely the feel of You Are Holy, the first one, because the first You Are Holy was really quiet. When
Mhm.
you think about the comparison of the first You Are Holy and the House of Blues You Are Holy, the House of Blues You Are Holy is high energy and a lot of instrumentation and a lot of voices. And the first You Are Holy is something special about that one
Right.
because it's just
Intimate.
it's real intimate.
Yeah.
It's
Absolutely.
quiet. And I want this project to be quiet because the world is so noisy. I want people to put my album in and just drive and just be able to think. And then not because there are times when I'm driving, if something is a song is too much, I gotta cut it off because I just want peace. But I want this album to be where you can still grab that peace and still listen and tap in.
Right.
We need that. We need a quiet space. We need a quiet space.
Absolutely. Okay. This is my final question for you. And again, this is a question that I've asked you before in past interviews. You're silly. Um, in past interviews, let's see if your answers have changed.
Okay.
Then. This is just take a moment and think about it. Question is this: what would have to happen in your life if it hasn't happened already for you to consider your life a success? What does success look like for you specifically at this point in time?
That was three questions. That was
No,
three questions.
no, no. I
So the
was
first
I
time, what
was
would have to happen in my
contextualizing the question.
yeah,
That's
okay.
what it was.
What would have to happen in my life right now for me to consider it success?
Yeah. Okay. What does success look like for you?
Man, peace. And I'm not even trying to be deep. So can I expound on that answer?
Absolutely.
So every morning at 7 a.m., I take a meditation walk. It's very rare that I don't. Okay. During that walk, one of the first things that I don't have all the time, but when I do have it, it takes me there. When I wake up and I go on these walks and I have peace of mind and I'm not walking and I'm in the middle of an anxiety attack, it's the most beautiful thing. And during those times, I'll say, like I did this morning, I'll say, God, thank you for this peace. Because people take peace for granted.
Mm.
You're talking about a woman who used to couldn't shut my mind off. I'm talking about could not shut it off. I had to be asleep to shut it off. And as you can imagine, that's exhausting. So when I'm up and I take my meditation walks in the morning and there is no fear going on or anxiety or me having to speak to myself and calm myself down, usually nothing's really wrong, but just my body is just triggered for something. Sometimes I don't even know that triggered it, and I'm just walking in this peace, and my mind is clear, and I can breathe in the air, that is success, because I have been on the road for years with no peace of mind.
Got you.
I would not trade my peace of mind for anything, anything in the world. It is the greatest gift that I have in my life right now. That is my true success. Because when I'm at peace, the people are, first of all, when I'm at peace, I'm at peace. And then the rest of the world around me, my children get to have peace. People who are living in, and I work with children, and I know kids who are, they're just, you can see the rage in them. When they're raised in the house where there's rage. Someone's beating somebody. Someone's arguing all the time and yelling all the time. I have people come to my house, and the first thing they'll say, every time, different people, they'll stop and say, "Oh my God, your house is so peaceful." And I'm like, "Really?" Because I'm here all the time. I'm like, "Yeah. What is it about your house?" And I'm like, "Wow." And this happens often when people come. I work for that peace. Ain't nobody taking that.
I know that's right.
Listen.
I know that's right.
Ain't nobody take, listen. We're not doing that. I fought for this peace. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, that's amazing, and I appreciate that answer. I definitely can. I definitely can get with that. If somebody wanted to get in touch with you for whatever reason,
Yeah.
how could they get in touch with you?
Yeah, so we trying to book a sister.
Hey, listen.
Definitely Lisa Mcclendon music at gmail.com. Social media, follow me on social media. I am Lisa Mcclendon, or Lisa Mcclendon Music, on IG, Facebook, um, LinkedIn. That's my new spot for sure. I'm not really a TikTok person. That's for the little kids. I don't have time for TikTok too much. I can't do them all. But yeah, definitely on social media. And look, most importantly, Google me. How about that? Just Google me.
Oh, that's right.
Google
Absolutely.
me. That's easy. Google me. So yes.
Okay. Well, Miss Mcclendon, I appreciate you for coming on to the platform.
Thank you, my friend.
We got another one. We got another one in the books.
Another one.
And as always, I want to extend to you an open invitation to this platform. Anytime there's something that you want to promote or talk about or bring to our attention, please let me know and we could do it. It's absolutely your second home to do whatever you need to do.
Thank you. And I want to say congratulations to you, Big Mike. You are doing your thing. I see you. I'm so excited for you. You stood out on faith, and here we are still. And just, and I even love the story behind it, which I think they're highlighting in the documentary. So if not, definitely behind the scenes footage. So I'm just excited for you and everything that you're doing, and just you're bringing something new to the culture. And I appreciate that. Knowing my dear friend is doing your thing.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Very much. Listen, I know that you have a lot of stuff to do, and I appreciate you taking a moment to sit down with us. But I'm going to be respectful of your time. Thank you again for coming on, man. I really appreciate you. And I wish you much blessings on everything that you got going on and everything that you got moving forward.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So with that being said, Miss Lisa, you have a great evening.
You too, sir.
All right. And we will definitely chat again.
Yes, sir.
All right. Good night. There you have it, guys. Another amazing interview with another amazing guest. Shout out to Lisa and her whole team. Shout out to you. Perfect. Please go check out her new single, Perfect. It's on all media platforms. Check her out on YouTube, Spotify, wherever you consume music. Please check her out. As always, if there's something that you are trying to do it now. Do it now.